There aren't too many more refined and luxurious ways to travel than in a Range Rover. Yet there is a way of making a Range Rover more refined and luxurious: electrify it. The early days of the electrified car have been quite unusual in terms of which cars have got the technology first. Normally, it's the big expensive cars that get the big and expensive new technology first before dripping down to the rest of the market as it becomes more affordable and widely available. Yet that's not been the case with electric and plug-in hybrid models, for we've seen the likes of £30,000 plus city cars that no one has bought and that have hindered rather than enhanced the inevitable switch to electrification. Which is even more odd given just how refined, quiet and premium an electric drivetrain is, making it perfect for a big and expensive luxury car in the first place. Never mind, for the status quo has sorted itself out, and many a luxury car is available with a little e at the end of its name, and an extra hole into it to dispense electricity instead of a fossil fuel. Now we arrive at arguably the most luxurious car yet to find itself with a little e at the end of its name, the Range Rover. Land Rover's plug-in hybrid system, which finds its way onto the Range Rover Sport at the same time, mixes a longitudinally mounted 296 bhp 2.0-litre turbocharged petrol engine from Jaguar Land Rover's Ingenium family with a 114 bhp electric motor housed in the casing of an 8-speed automatic gearbox. That draws power from a 13.1 kWh lithium-ion battery pack located at the rear of the car and charged from a port in the front grille. That battery allows for up to 31 miles of electric-only driving at speeds of up to 85 miles per hour, and a full charge of that battery can take 2 HR45 mins with the right 32-amp wallbox charger. And that plug-in hybrid drivetrain, Jaguar Land Rover's first, sits in an overhauled Range Rover body, promising the greatest levels of luxury and comfort yet. We're testing here in close to production but still prototype form for a first taste. What's it like? Don't change it, just make it better was the brief for this heavily revised, and it's more revised than it looks, version of the king of luxury SUVs, but on this brief first impression, an early eyebrow is raised at the plug-in hybrid drivetrain's realization of that brief. The drivetrain's distribution of electric and petrol power isn't seamless, making the driver an unwelcome part of the process. The brakes are quite grabby, and the ride is crashy and has lost its suppleness with the extra weight of the hybrid drivetrain, taking the car above 2.5 tons. But, remember, this is a prototype drive, and there is development work still to be done, and those are exactly the things Land Rover engineers point to improving before the P400e reaches production next spring, including adjusting the damper settings to take account of the extra weight. The Range Rover Sport we also briefly tested was evidence of how much better the integration can be. It's being launched ahead of the Range Rover in January in China first, so work on it is practically complete. It had a ride quality as it should, and was more seamless in its power shift between petrol and electric propulsion, although our drive of it was shorter and dominated by a traffic jam. Still, the car made for a quiet, relaxing companion. One thing Land Rover's engineers might struggle to fix on the P400e is what happens when the battery runs out. The four-cylinder engine was vocal in its propulsion, lacking the refinement and grunt of the big V6 and V8 diesels we've become so accustomed to in Land Rover's flagship models. They're simply fighting physics here. To that end, you'd best make full use of those 31 miles of electric range.